the second semifinal. France 2, Morocco 0. The story ends here. The fairy tale comes to a close. Morocco bow out proudly in the semifinals, but they have one more game to come, which is the third place matchup, a rematch from the group stages with Croatia. So, where to start? I think that Morocco made a little bit of a mistake here, starting an unfit Saiss and leaving out Amala in the midfield. They chose to go with 5 at the back. This was something that Dominic, Rich, and I touched upon in our most recent World Cup Digest episode. Manager Walid Regragui switched things up, and he went with a 5-4-1 formation lineup for this game. So 5 at the back as opposed to the back 4 they've had the whole tournament. And I think it caused some confusion, which ultimately resulted in the first goal that France went ahead through Theo Hernandez in the 5th minute. Once that goal went in, it was always going to be tough for Morocco. It was already an uphill battle, and it became a mountain to climb, conceding that early. It was the first time all tournament that they fell behind, that a team scored on them from open play that was not an own goal. And I thought that the way Morocco responded was well enough, but they were just lacking the final ball or the confidence to take the shot going forward. We see this being a repetitive pattern for why a lot of teams in this World Cup struggle, is just that lack of clinical ability up front. It's a shame, but it was a great run by Morocco. I do wonder how the game would have went if they started with their usual shape, though. Perhaps you can say that they showed France a little bit too much respect, because there were moments where even Hakim Ziyech, who's primarily a midfielder, plays in a wing position. There were moments when he was dropping back to help out the back line, and I thought that was a little bit too conservative of an approach from Morocco. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And there was nothing broke. I think they just, a lot of teams underestimate others. I think they overestimated France in this match, because we saw when France went ahead, they were content to allow Morocco more of the ball. There's no need to push numbers forward and take too many risks. France were willing to play that counter-attacking football, because from that point onward, Morocco had to come at them instead of vice versa. And after that goal, it allowed France to sit back more, and sitting back for them was great because it allowed vertical space for Mbappe and Dembele to get in behind. And when they do that, it can give the impression sometimes that they're being dominated, but honestly, it's the same thing that has happened over and over again in multiple World Cups. I think the big issue is that the makeshift midfield covers less compared to what a Conte and Pogba midfield would have done, but it's still been running efficiently, to the point where their depth in every area of the pitch, I think, is really shining through, and it's putting them on the verge of winning yet another World Cup. Some key things I also want to note. I thought Thuram's entry completely changed this match. He was good offensively, but mostly he shut down Morocco's right side, and it was kind of messing with Morocco was messing with Hernandez all night, and I thought Thuram alleviated some of that pressure that they were putting on Hernandez. I also feel that the Giroud sub helped out a lot, because it alleviated some of the pressure down that wing, and it basically allowed Thuram to come in and help defensively. And from there, France looked a little bit better going forward. There were more chances that were coming their way. Morocco had 62% of possession, limited France to only 38%. And if you had told me before this game that Morocco would have the lion's share of the ball, I wouldn't have quite believed it. But it really goes to show how good of a side this is under their manager Regragui. But the problem is, despite showing a lot of poise and control and creating a lot of chances, France went into halftime with all the momentum because Morocco were trailing and chasing this game almost from the start. And it is good for Morocco that the match did not get out of hand, but again, multiple opportunities to equalize, even one or two strikes that came off the upright from the post. And Morocco is really left to rue those opportunities that were lost. They will be fondly remembered, Morocco, I think, truly. This run was magnificent, beating Spain and Belgium and Portugal, in with a chance against the French. It'll be something that a lot of Moroccan fans, and I think a lot of neutrals around the world who fell in love with this team, will remember for years and years to come, actually. People still talk about Ghana in 2010. They still talk about Korea 2002. Morocco 2022, man. They're going to be up there. These boys are legends, and it's going to inspire a lot of other nations in CAF and other non-powerhouse footballing nations to really up their game and believe that they can aspire to great things as well. So this is going to have a ripple effect. This is not a blip in the radar like a weird side road attraction. This is something that you at least hope will become a regular thing, where you have surprise teams that go on deep runs like this and take a page out of Morocco's book, that with the right tactics, the right manager, the right organization, and just overall being a decent side, you can go very far and cause quite a few shocks. Another thing I want to mention, who I think is going to go down as having had a very memorable and commendable World Cup, is Griezmann. He has been the quiet mastermind in this French team this entire World Cup. Not only has he proven to be an elite creator and elite controller from midfield, but he's sweeping up danger in his own penalty box. He's everywhere on the pitch. His work rate has been insane. And I think of the last two games, I can't really escape the feeling that France are a little bit lucky here and there, but maybe you make a lot of your own luck. And that's something a lot of people don't consider. Sometimes teams just make their own luck. They're clinical when they need to be, and that's basically it. And with France, having a guy like Griezmann in there pulling the strings, even though he himself has not found the back of the net very much in this tournament, I think they'd be in a world of hurt without him. And I will say, France only have 90 minutes left, maybe 120, or a penalty shootout to take this home yet again. But I do think they are possibly missing a great holding midfielder, and it's showing a little bit. I'm still of the belief that they need someone who can recycle balls and move the block up. This was something I also mentioned in my my digest episode with Dominic, and I took notes. I have my notebook right here that I write all my stuff down on, as you can see. I think that they could afford to have somebody who is able to block up play in that role, especially if they want to capitalize on counterattacks. Griezmann has been phenomenal at what he's been doing, but he's generally not supposed to be in a position where he has to bring the ball over the halfway line. He's supposed to just start attacks and combine. So I do wonder whether or not France could be cruising through these games if they had somebody like Kanté in there, or if they had Rabiot today, who I heard he's out sick, looking like he's going to miss the final as well. But look, I mean, they came into this World Cup, no Kanté, no Pogba, no Benzema, no Nkunku, and they're still winning games. And if there's any national team in the world that can get away with this shit, it's France. I'm not even sure Brazil, because we saw how much Brazil were lacking in those couple of games where Neymar was not on the pitch. Oh, it's night and day difference. Struggling to break down teams, less midfielding creativity. So for France, it really goes to show the embarrassment of riches they have. And what's important to remember is that France has scored at least 2 goals every game they've played in this World Cup, with the exception of the game against Tunisia when, surprise, they rested players and they fielded what was essentially a C team on the pitch. They played the bench, basically. Not a single one of those goals has been from a pen. All of France's goals have been from open play, which is really impressive, and I think it's important because they're coming up against a team in Argentina who has found the back of the net at least 3 or 4 times through penalties. It's very impressive. They're a team, even considering the fact that sometimes France are a team that doesn't have much possession, and they're a team who can be outplayed at times, as they were against England, but they just find a million different ways to hurt you. They won the last World Cup. I will always believe France won the 2018 World Cup, never getting out of second gear. They're looking like they could do the same here. But I have to say, the fashion in which they're doing it this time is actually more convincing than 2018, which is saying a lot, considering the depletion they've been having in their squad. But again, it just really tells you that France are a juggernaut in this sport. 4 finals now of the last 7 World Cups. 4 under the 32-team format. And they're not showing any signs of slowing down.